Hello and welcome to the lesson. Today we are going to study the responsibilities of the Auditor General and relationship between the internal audit function and the Office of the Auditor General. Those are two things. Responsibilities of the Auditor General and relationship between internal audit function and Office of the Auditor General. The relationship between internal audit function and Office of the Auditor General. Now, let's begin with the responsibilities. Responsibilities of the Auditor General. What are the responsibilities of the Auditor General? Now, the Auditor General of Kenya is an independent constitutional office holder, that individual, okay? And this individual, the office holder, has significant responsibilities in ensuring accountability and transparency in the management of public resources. And this role is distinct from, yet it is distinct. At the same time, it is complementary to the internal audit function within public entities. So what are the responsibilities now of the Auditor General? Now, the responsibilities of the Auditor General in Kenya are broad and are primarily derived from Article 229 of the Constitution. And also they may be derived or are derived from the Public Audit Act of 2015. And these responsibilities go beyond a simple check of financial records, and it may encompass a comprehensive evaluation of how public funds are managed and utilized. So the first key responsibility of the office or the responsibility of the Auditor General is to audit and report on public accounts. Auditing and reporting. Auditing and reporting on public accounts. Auditing and reporting on public accounts. The responsibilities of the Auditor General said are broad, and one of the responsibilities is to audit and report on public accounts. The core responsibility is to conduct audits of the accounts of all entities that receive or manage public funds, including national and county governments. We have the state organs, the courts. We, in our last lesson, mentioned commissions and so on. Okay? Public entities. And that involves examining financial statements, underlying records, and even systems of internal control. So the Auditor General is responsible for forming an opinion on whether the financial statements are presented fairly and comply with applicable accounting standards and laws. So the first core responsibility of the Auditor General is to audit and report on public accounts. The second responsibility is assessing lawfulness and effectiveness. Assessing lawfulness and effectiveness. This is a crucial responsibility to confirm whether public money has been applied lawfully and in an effective way, and that involves conducting compliance audits to ensure adherence to relevant legislation and regulations, and performance audits to assess the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness, which is the value for money of public spending and programs. 3, submitting audit reports. Submitting audit reports. The Auditor General has responsibility to submit audit reports. Auditor General is responsible for preparing comprehensive audit reports which details the findings, the conclusions, and recommendations. And these reports must be submitted to Parliament and the relevant county assemblies within the constitutionally stipulated timeline within 6 months after the end of each financial year. 4, highlighting irregularities and weaknesses. Highlighting irregularities and weaknesses. That is the responsibility of the Auditor General. This is a key responsibility, which is to draw attention to any irregularities. It could also be wasteful expenditures or instances of non-compliance with laws and regulations, and weaknesses in internal controls and financial management that are identified during the audit process. The auditor has responsibility to highlight irregularities and weaknesses. 5 is to conduct special audits. Conducting special audits. Conducting special audits. The Auditor General has the responsibility to conduct special audits or investigations into specific matters concerning the use of public funds, either on their own initiatives or at the request of the legislature, particularly in case of suspected fraud, corruption, or mismanagement. 6, promoting accountability and transparency. The Auditor General has a responsibility to promote accountability and transparency. Promoting accountability and transparency through candidates, the timely submission and publicization of audit reports. The Auditor General plays a vital role in promoting accountability within the public sector and providing transparency to citizens on how public resources are managed. 7, advising the legislature. Advising the legislature. Advising the legislature. That is the Auditor General's responsibility. The Auditor General is often called upon to provide technical assistance and advice to parliamentary and county assembly committees responsible for scrutinizing public accounts and exercising oversight. So these are 7 responsibilities of the Auditor General. Number 1, auditing and reporting on public accounts. Number 2, assessing lawfulness and effectiveness. 3, submitting audit reports to Parliament. 4, highlighting irregularities and weaknesses. 5, conducting special audits. 6, promoting accountability and transparency. And lastly, advising the legislature. Now let's move on to the second part of this lesson, which is the relationship between internal audit function and Office of the Auditor General. relationship between internal audit function and Office of Auditor General. Now, the internal audit function within a public entity and the Office of the Auditor General are distinct but have a significant and interdependent relationship. An internal audit is a department or a function within the organization. In the Kenyan public sector, internal audit units are established within government ministries, departments, agencies, and even county government entities, often reporting to the accounting officer and the entity's audit committee. Their mandate, as outlined in the Public Financial Management Act and related regulations, is to provide independent, objective assurance and consulting services designed to add value and improve an organization's operations. Internal audit, we can also say, helps an organization accomplish its objectives by bringing systematic and disciplined approach to evaluate and improve the effectiveness of risk management, control, and governance processes. So internal auditors examine the effectiveness of internal controls, they assess risks, they review compliance with internal policies and procedures, and they may conduct value for money reviews within the entity. So that is what we can say about the internal audit function. These are functions that are established within government entities. But here we are to discuss the relationship between this internal audit function and the Office of the Auditor General. Now, the relationship between internal audit and Office of the Auditor General is characterized by many things. One is complementary roles. We are now discussing the relationship between the two. Complementary roles. Both functions contribute to good governance and accountability, but they have to do so from different perspectives. The internal audit focuses on improving internal processes and controls for the benefit of management and governing bodies, while the Office of the Auditor General provides an independent opinion on the financial statements and the overall use of public resources for the benefit of Parliament, county assemblies, and the public. So they play a complementary role. Two is reliance on internal audit work. Reliance on internal audit work. External auditors, the Auditor General's office, including the Auditor General, these are external auditors, may consider and to some extent place reliance on the work of internal audit function when planning and conducting their audits. And by now you all know that a strong and effective internal audit function can contribute to the external auditor's assessment of the internal control environment. And the Public Audit Act allows the Auditor General to have unhindered access to all internal audit reports of entities subject to audit. So that is how they are related. The external auditor, who is the Auditor General, may rely on the work of internal audit function. The third point is maintaining independence. Maintaining independence. Now, despite potential reliance on internal audit work, the Auditor General maintains complete independence in forming audit opinions and conclusions. And therefore, the office of the Auditor General is not part of the executive arm of government and is not subject to the direction or control of entities it audits. 4. Information sharing. Information sharing. Now, there is a flow of information between the two because the office of the Auditor General has access to internal audit reports, and findings from external audits may inform the risk assessments and work plans of internal audit. So there's that information sharing, and that's how they are also related. 5. Improving public financial management. Improving public financial management. Now, by working in the respective capacities, both internal audit and the Office of the Auditor General contribute to strengthening public financial management, enhancing internal controls, and deterring fraud and corruption, and also improving the overall performance of public entities. So that is how these two are related. Okay? And in essence, a well-functioning internal audit function can support the work of the Auditor General. If an internal audit function is functioning as designed, then such an internal audit department can be of great importance or use to the work of the Auditor General by ensuring a strong internal control environment and providing relevant information. However, the Auditor General's role as the independent external auditor remains crucial for providing an objective and credible assessment of financial statements and the use of public resources to the ultimate oversight bodies and the public at large. So that's all for today's lesson, which was on responsibilities of the Auditor General and the relation between internal audit function and the office of the Auditor General. Bye.